Larry asks, how long does it take for the E-Function smoothie recipes to work? Now, listen, I will be the first to tell you there's not going to be anything that we can talk about here that works for every damn body. But when the people that do well on the E-Function smoothie recipes, they usually see results within the first couple weeks. And if you don't, what that means to me oftentimes is that you haven't been able to increase your nitric oxide levels, and that the tissue in the erection has just atrophied or become to the point where it's not responding very well. So one or two of those things, and then three, your testosterone levels. So keep in mind that erectile function is multifaceted. It's got the hormone component, it's got the blood flow component, it's got the mental component, it's got the fibrosis component or the atrophy component. What is the tissue of the erection actually doing? So there's all these different components that work together, and you can't really address one without addressing the other. What I can say about the guys who take the smoothie recipes and immediately have it work, then we know that he was suffering from a nitric oxide level. We know that adding those extra level of antioxidants has helped improve things. And when someone takes the nitric oxide supplement or the smoothie recipes and you don't see any change and has done all of these things, then we ultimately stop to think, okay, so what's wrong with this process? And actually, I have a gentleman here who gave a question, and that was basically his whole thing. Is he basically was like, Doc, I've done everything. So let me play his question, because this is a good time to ask this. This question comes from Graham. There's a lovely accent here. Let's see
here. I'm 72 years of age. I had a radical prostatectomy in November 2018. This was followed up by radiation therapy and hormone therapy. As a result of that, I lost all sexual desires until about October 2022. Prior to the surgery, I used a vacuum pump and a Jazz extender penis traction device. When the desires came back again, I recommenced using those devices. I've been considering a penile implant, Coloplast Titan penile implant, recommended to me by a colleague that has already gone down that road. I use L-arginine, L-citrulline, vitamin D3, magnesium. I have pomegranate juice and most of the other vitamins that you recommend. So I've been following that, but the erections are not strong enough for penetrative sex. So this is my thoughts at this stage, is to go for a implant. Can you give me your thoughts on that, please? Thank you.
Well, thank you for that question, Graham. And you know what? I can feel Graham's frustration with his comments. He's basically gotten to the point where a good friend of his has had a penile implant. He says he's tried everything, and he's wondering, should he try a penile implant as well? So let me just say this one about prostate cancer and prostate cancer treatment. Now, gone is the day that the urologist will treat you for prostate cancer and do the surgery, do radiation, do whatever, and then not address your testosterone levels. Usually now it is very modern for them to then say, well, listen, I know your testosterone levels are depleted. What can we do? Can we put you on some? That's always a thought. So one thing I want you to do, Graham, is ask your urologist, how are my testosterone levels? I know that they're low because of the treatment that they did. Oh, and ask them, can you put me on some testosterone? So that's the first thing. The second thing that I wanted to mention, now you notice Graham said he's been boosting his nitric oxide level. He's taking L-arginine, he's taking L-citrulline, he's taking vitamin D3, he's taking omega-3 fatty acids, he's taking a lot of different things. So he's basically like, what in the world? Why is this not working for me? Well, one thing I want to reiterate when I say that we're boosting nitric oxide production, I also say please avoid L-arginine based supplements at this point, because I want you to think of L-arginine. Yes, L-arginine is, our body makes L-arginine. We can actually eat foods that have L-arginine in it. But unfortunately, if you have too much L-arginine in the body, that nitric oxide synthase, which is necessary to be, it needs to be working in order to make nitric oxide, you can actually uncouple or make that nitric oxide synthase not work anymore. And you can produce a byproduct of L-arginine because you're taking it as a supplement and as a vitamin. You can produce a form of L-arginine that becomes methylated, and it becomes ADMA. And ADMA is actually very toxic to the blood vessels. It can actually help the blood vessels become even more fibrotic or stiffer when we want them to be less fibrotic and less stiff. So if you don't get anything from me, please, if you're an older gentleman, throw out the L-arginine based supplement, because it may work for you at first in the short term, but long term, it is likely creating more chaos and confusion for your body than anything. So for Graham, I would say, let's look at your testosterone levels and consider getting supplemented by injecting testosterone, a couple times a week, but also throw out that L-arginine supplement, get on a nitrate-based supplement. It doesn't have to be the one I recommend. There are some great other alternative nitrate-based supplements out there, but focus on boosting nitric oxide and repairing your body's ability to create nitric oxide. And that's what the nitrate-based supplements do, is they help repair and recouple that nitric oxide synthase, or that NOS, that's so important when it comes to making nitric oxide. So I would say start there, try there, and then when you can get an erection, and as you're training for that, get a good cock ring. Get a good cock ring. Let me get a cock ring to show you. Get a good cock ring, and once that blood flow is in there, trap the blood flow, put the cock ring on, and that can help you stay in the promised land until the rest is sorted out. Right? And I love, Graham, that you have not given up, that you've tried, and that you are doing the work. And then, honestly, if you have a friend and a colleague who has had an implant and he's very happy with it, and you can find 2 or 3 other friends or colleagues that you can actually talk to and figure out which surgeon did it, because the surgeon does matter, then now that's something that you may want to consider, because there are some guys who are happy with the implant. But let's keep in mind, implants are like anything else. We all know a lady who had some breast implants and she hates them and she's trying to get them removed. And we all know some who's had breast implants and loves them and thinks they're fantastic. And so does everybody else. So everybody is so different that I'm so glad that Graham is trying to look at this from all different angles. He's trying all these different things, and he's going to figure out what works for him and what doesn't. Now that he's done all of this penile rehab too, now is the opportunity to try back the PDE5 inhibitors like the Cialis or Yohimbe. If you want to stay off of the traditional medicines, Yohimbe works in a very similar way, or like Cialis, like Viagra. So that would be kind of my approach if I were your practitioner and we were talking it through. Can we do any of those things? Can we add shockwave treatment? Did you try shockwave to kind of help repair the tissue and improve blood flow and to grow new blood vessels, neovascularization? Did we try all of those things? And did we try Botox or Bocox, right? Did we try, so all of this can get very expensive. Now, your insurance will pay for a penile implant after the urologist has gone through all of the loops and things to get it done. But most of those other treatments that I'm talking about, the Bocox, the Shockwave, PRP, or the P-Shot, they usually won't pay for those types of things. So sometimes it becomes, what will my insurance pay for? So figuring out what works for you and what's right for you is the best option. And I love that, Graham, that you're taking kind of this full frontal, no pun intended, approach to trying to figure it out.